Good day, viewers. I am Miss Leoneza Estabillo, teacher from Trece City National High School, and I'll be presenting to you my study entitled E-Learning Games, Embracing Technology and Enriching Vocabulary of Grade 8 Students at Trece City National High School, Maine. As for the background of my study, it is believed that vocabulary knowledge is often viewed as a critical tool in learning a language. According to Kang 1995, vocabulary is the basic unit of language learning, and a person will not be able to learn a language without knowing words. It is the basis for the development of other necessary skills for a language to be used effectively, such as reading comprehension, listening comprehension, speaking, writing, etc. Thus, having a good amount of vocabulary is paramount in language learning. According to McCarthy, 1990, as cited by Carranza et al. In his studies or their studies in 2017, no matter how well the students learn grammar, no matter how successfully the sounds of a second language are mastered, without words to express a wider range of meanings, communication in second language cannot just happen in any meaningful way. It is believed that language learners do not have enough vocabulary knowledge, and despite a lot of ways to help learners, no specific strategy has been identified as the most effective one. Thus, the research continues towards finding the best way of vocabulary learning. Acquiring an extensive vocabulary in a target language poses a big challenge to language learners. Actually, vocabulary teaching and learning is a big challenge for both teachers and learners, and sometimes teachers do not really pay enough attention to it in their classes. One key factor in second language learning is to have enough vocabulary. One of the identified strategies is the inclusion of digital technologies in teaching of vocabulary, since today's youth are exposed to technological devices and programs. Different international studies revealed that games are beneficial in vocabulary learning because they enhance students' ability to memorize words, encourage students' interaction, improve their communicative skills, and enhance students' motivation. With a growing number of international researchers claiming the effectivity of using e-games or games in teaching and enriching vocabulary, this study was deemed necessary. Under these premises, this action research was conducted to further analyze the use of technology, specifically e-learning games, as a tool to enrich the vocabulary of the identified students at Trece City National High School, Maine. This study focused on enriching students' vocabulary for the reason that it was observed that the students demonstrated poor range of vocabulary. And as for the research questions of this study, first we have, what is the result of the test given to students prior to the utilization of e-learning games or activities? Second, what is the result of the test given to students after the utilization of e-learning games or activities? And for the last research question, is there any significant difference between the test scores of the students before and after the utilization of e-learning games or activities? As for the scope and limitation of this study only aimed to investigate the effectivity of utilizing e-learning games or activities and enriching grade 8 students' vocabulary. This was conducted to grade 8 students only, selected students of Trece City National High School, Maine. Under this study, the participants were chosen in a convenience sampling. As for the methods, participants, again, once more, they are 8 graders, 68 graders, and the regular section of Trece City National High School, Maine. And as for the data gathering, from the raw scores of the students on their spelling activity as basis of this study, the researcher made a vocabulary test was given a researcher made vocabulary test was given to participants as pretest and posttest to determine the effectivity of the strategy. The tests were constructed parallel to each other, in which the contents were similar, but the placement of items was different. It was a 25-item vocabulary test. As for the data analysis, To answer the first and second research questions, one group pretest or post-test design was used. To calculate the difference between pretest and post-test scores, the correlated t-test statistic was utilized. The test of hypothesis was based on 0.05 level of significance. Now, as for the results and discussion of the study, as it can be seen from Table 1, it was shown that the result of the test given to the students prior to the utilization of e-learning games activities was 13.9333, while the result of the test given after the utilization of e-learning games or activities was 19.3833. Whereas the mean score of post-test was higher than the mean score of pre-test. Now, based on table number 2, it was shown that the p-value 0.000 was less than the 0.05 level of significance. Thus, the null hypothesis of this study was rejected. Consequently, there was a significant difference between the test scores of the students before and after the utilization of e-learning games or activities. Now, to conclude this study, based on the results of this study, it can be concluded that utilizing e-learning games or activities has an effect on enriching grade 8 students' vocabulary. Thus, using such games in the classroom results in engaging motivation and facilitate the learning of language. The result of this study coincides with results of other or previous studies. Based on the study of Turgut and Irgin 2009, it showed that learners who played online games performed better in vocabulary skill. Also, Effrendi 2013 carried out a research on using games to improve students' vocabulary learning. The results represented that utilizing games improves students' vocabulary learning achievement. Lastly, in the study of Aguilera and Tamjid 2011, they concluded that digital games have positive effects on the learning process. They stated that the learning process becomes much more enjoyable by engaging children in such games. The stresses involved in the learning process are drastically reduced. That's the result of the study, which coincides with the results of the previous studies with regard to the utilization of e-learning games in enriching or enhancing students' vocabulary. Now, as a researcher, I may recommend for the other researchers or future researchers, if they are going to conduct the same study, they may use two groups in which one group will be given the utilization of e-learning games while the other one is not. Okay, for to really see the effect of utilizing e-learning games in enhancing or in developing students' vocabulary. That's all about my presentation. Again, thank you. Good day, everyone.